Test. Ah, there we are. Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to ExA. For some reason, OBS decided that my mic shouldn't work until I loaded another piece of software. But here we are, back in business. The break week is over, and therefore welcome back to X1 Season 9, Round 8. We have just arrived in the USA. One of two races there, in fact. This week it is the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, and then in another 2 weeks we'll be heading to Vegas with Japan just in between. My name is Frostbreath, aka Rob, and once again I'll be your commentator for the night. As I said, back in business, and that means we're going to have a proper look at the standings, and that's always an interesting one to watch here in EXA, because it's still quite close at the top. Liam Stevens has finally taken the championship lead after harassing Lukomski's championship lead for a whole lot of races now. And he's taken it with another race victory last week in style. And now he's 6 points clear from the pole. Unfortunately, though, for Simon Lukomski, he's not present tonight. So that is definitely going to put a big dent potentially in his championship hopes. It will also allow Luca Ripasa to close the gap to second place a whole lot, depending on how well the both of them will do. So Liam's team has got a great opportunity to potentially deal a hammering and defeating blow to Lukomski's championship. And Luca Ripasa himself might also get a good opportunity to get really close to at least second place and perhaps some more than that. But Liam Stevens, though, has been on a roll. He's now won 4 races out of 7 already. We are round 8 right now, as you can see. That means it's more than a 50% win ratio so far. He had a bit of a struggle earlier in the season, and then he just came forwards. And from the top of my head, I think he's won 3 or 4 in a row right now, which is impressive. I believe we're about to get going. We're missing 2 drivers, as far as I'm aware. Steven Vaso and Rehards Sprogus are not present. And drivers are wondering why we're not starting yet. We're now 2 minutes over time. So they wanted to get going because, of course, there's also PCF1 going on. And I believe, yep, there we go. The green flag has been given. And the 17th and penultimate driver has just joined. Rehards Sprogus on the pretty much at the last second has joined us in the lobby. So 17 drivers will be partaking in this race tonight. Of course, first 18 minutes of qualifying coming up, and then be ready to go. Championship contenders present tonight. As I said, Luca Ripasa, Larry Toki is also present. Valentino Labella, same story. Jensen Rosen in P6 is there as well. And then there is Diego Zorzo, P9, and Tony Hitala in P10. Oh, at the start of the season, you might remember Tony Hitala actually still being a very close title contender. Now he's just barely hanging on to the top 10, but at least he's now back in business, and hopefully, for his own sake, he can put forward a good race result, because he has been struggling as of late. Appears to be missing some pace here and there compared to the rest. So let's see if he can find some of his former glory, so to say. We're about to head to the track. I hope OBS will stay alive now. It has decided to crash while the starting screen was up. You might have noticed it if you tuned in early. You might have noticed it in the Discord because you might have gotten 2 notifications that the stream was up. Simply because, unfortunately, OBS decided to just close itself. There wasn't any crash message. It just closed itself. Do I have a sexy voice? Well... A lot of people like my voice, but I didn't know it was sexy, quote unquote. Anyway, it's time to head to the game, if it works. There we go. Thankfully it does. And yes, once again, path racing is on. It's been quite stable over the past few races I've streamed with path racing on. I'm also racing with that setting on as well on my very wide screen. In case you're wondering, I do have an ultra-wide screen, allowing a resolution of up to 5120 by 1440p, running in a smooth 60 frames per second on the highest possible settings. So yeah, makes me quite happy, and it turned out that you guys were quite happy about it as well, and therefore we'll just keep it up, shall we? Jensen Rausen. First out on track, and it's actually quite busy very early on. Might that indicate some rain? Because if we look at the weather at the moment, it's quite cloudy. So this might explain the reason why there's so many drivers headed out quickly. Usually, you see about 4 or 5 drivers head out in the first minute or so. And then the rest slowly but surely trickling out of it later down the line. But almost everybody's out except Gerhard Sproges and Diego Zorzo. Both Red Bulls, frankly, and that is interesting, have decided to stay in. The rest, all of them out as we speak, on track. Let's hope Steven Vaso will join us during qualifying, otherwise we'll be one driver short. 17 out of the 18 that have signed up. Frankly, 11 of these are full-time drivers, the other 6 are reserves. So let's see what they can bring to the table. For example, Jan Halliday. Haven't seen him so far. Alberto Barros, might have seen from the top of my head once before, I believe. Jack Humphreys said himself in the chat, and I quote, "This is my first race on this game." So he's expecting to get smacked. So any good performance from him will be probably be cheered on by himself and celebrated. I would say late into the night, but I believe it's early in the day for him. So there we go. Jensen Rausen, though, on his way. Has already exited turn 1, then headed through the snaky bit, and already it's raining. Look at that! No wonder everybody came out so early. This is going to hurt Diego Zorzo. He's still in the pit box. And Gerhard Sproges has decided to come out only now. And already the first drops are falling, so that is seriously early. And it's no surprise that nobody is leaving a gap for themselves for some space in qualifying, especially the Aston Martins. Very close together, and one of them has already abandoned the lap. Florian Vanzelter has decided to abandon this one in the hopes that the track will still be dry enough or fast enough for another opportunity. It looks like the Red Bull drivers almost certainly will not get a proper hot lap in, at least not a quick one, as the conditions are starting to deteriorate quite fast. You can already see here Jensen Rausen drifting through sector 3. Turn 18 here. Looks a bit more stable from our point of view, but you don't really know how much they're struggling at the moment. Can barely keep it within the white lines though. And that is another struggle there in the final corner. It is going to be a 1:31.7. Next up is Luca Rapasa, who was hoping to put a good lap time forwards, and he does. Half a second quicker than Jensen Rausen. Alexi Cavero, P4 now with Tony Hitala locking out the front row for RB. So far so good then. Lap times are still about as fast as everybody else. Larry Toki, P3 now. Anton Ciabataro with a 32.7. Made a mistake probably somewhere. So Valentino Labella does the exact same lap time as Alexi Cavero. Jack Humphreys' first race of the game provides him with a 33.1, which is not as bad at least as Alberto Barros' 33.5. So now let's swap our attention to the man who started late. He's already invalidated. And he's weaving his wheel in frustration, looks like. This might be qualifying over for him, and it looks like Diego has decided not to bother at all. He's like, nah, not today. Florian Vanzelter definitely trying again. I have to say though, it doesn't look as dark as I thought it would have been. But this is Florian struggling his way through Sector 1, 25.193. Is what he did right there. I have no comparative material. One of the McLarens there moving out of the way. As Vanzelter heads to the back straight. With another McLaren moving out of the way right there. Getting some slipstream from the Papaya car, because why not? An extra few milliseconds never hurts to have in conditions like these. And now, it might be a problem for Florian. There's a whole, oh my goodness, I was about to say there's a whole slew of cars in front of him, but it looks like the corner was the trickiest bit. I think everybody's heading in right now, and I'm not sure if they're coming back out for a second attempt. They're probably going to hope that the rain will stop. Maybe Diego was hoping for that. He's in fact retired. He's definitely given up. Florian is desperately trying to get in the lap time. 1:25, that's why he's already at. No, 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 it simply doesn't work. Nearly takes himself out as well, and everybody is retiring as they come into the pit lane. This might be the shortest qualifying ever, as he destroys the pit lane at the same time. Florian Vanzelter, in frustration, puts his destruction to the track. But it's the weather gods he can blame, not the track itself. And I think, yep, we have seen a lot of drivers retiring, and that might mean that Luca Rapaz has already claimed pole position. We're just barely in. Jensen Rausen ruining his lap. He says, worst lap of my life in the Discord, but he's still got P6. At least there's that. And fascinatingly, Reinhard Sprogus coming back out. And he might be the first and only one to do so in the second run. With 11 minutes remaining, he still does have some time to get something done. The track is still dry enough for soft tires, but we saw Vanzelter struggling hard to get something going. And I think this man will not be better off, because the track is only going to get worse. And sooner or later we'll get the message that DRS is disabled, and by that point it's just a lost cause, really. I actually think it already is. Look at that. Barely any speed through the snaky section. And now 2 drivers remain. And that means all of our attention is now on Reinhard Sprogus. Maybe he's just doing it because of that. Just a bit of attention, just a bit of screen time for our Latvian man. Yeah, look at that. He's actually acknowledging it. Some extra temperature in the tires. Everybody in the in the Discord, in the meanwhile, is saying that he should retire as Jensen Rausen's game has crashed. But this could be a good opportunity to get his game back up and running in time. Simply because this man still hasn't retired. But I have to give to him. He's trying, at the very least. Less than 10 minutes remain right now. Is he going to go for a hot lap? He's actually going for a hot lap. As far as these tires are still hot, but might also be a cold lap. An icy one. As off he goes. Let's see what he does. I believe 21.5 was for Vanzelter in Sector 1. When the track was still decently doable at that point in time. But the struggles are already in Turn 1. I think Reinhard is just doing this for Jensen Rausen now. To help him get back in the game. In time, and there he goes! Sideways through the corner. And retires. No surprises. It's over straight away, and therefore I've now officially commentated on the shortest qualifying session ever. This is some elite rage baiting. As Jensen is very unhappy about the game, saying it's a restart because he can't get in time, I think. But this is what it is. After 1 run only, Luca Rapasa claims pole position and Tony Hitala locks out the front row for the team. Larry Tolke P3, then Liam Stevens, Campbell Adams 4th and 5th, Jensen Rosen P6, Jan Halliday P7, Alexi Covero P8, Valentino Labella P9, and Conrad Bohm rounds off the top 10. The rest of the grid looking like this, with 4 drivers unable to set a lap time in these tricky conditions. Do I have the grid? I do, but I didn't screenshot it, so you're gonna have to zip back through the stream, I'm afraid. Although I do have it in RLT, actually, come to think of it. You just might want to use that. Although there's barely any player names there, so it might be a bit more difficult to do so. It is going to be a restart because of Jensen's crash, unfortunately. That means it allows us some extra minutes before we get going. It does mean, though, that these drivers are most likely going to miss the PSGL PEC F1 start. But it is what it is. Sometimes these things happen, unfortunately. So, we'll see you in a few minutes, I guess. Welcome back. The time has come. The lobby has been restarted. Everything is in working order. Jensen Rosen is back in business and will still start from P6. That's the good news. I think there's more good news because, of course, since qualifying was shorter, we'll still finish in time, I believe. The stream is indeed back up. It actually has been up the whole time. It just has been on a little bit of a calendar screen with the "we'll be back shortly" thing on the top. But here we are, getting ready for the race here in Texas. Drivers selecting, of course, their setups as well as tire strategies. And don't be surprised, once again, if almost everyone, except as if it is everybody, to start on the medium tires tonight. There we go. They've been quite fast about it, to be fair. 3, 4, and 5 red lights with a front row lockout by the RB cars. And off we go here in round number 8. A great start there from Tony Hietala. Is he going to try and challenge then his teammate in turn 1? Luca Rapaz has more to gain in the championship. He tries to fend up 3 cars in turn 1. And there is Liam Stevens getting tapped round nearly by the innermost RB. I believe that was Tony Hietala trying to attack Luca Rapaz for the lead of the race. Didn't work out, and therefore Rapaz still leads. Larry Tolkien remains in P3. Campbell Adams in P4. And Liam Stevens down to P5. Let's see, therefore he's now swapped positions and came together with his own teammate. Absolute disaster then for Campbell Adams, who already tumbles down the order and is pretty much out of the points straight away. He's still within the group though, pretty much at the tail end of it, but that is a disastrous start, and Liam Stevens might already be in trouble by the FIA for that particular incident. Another great start then for the championship leader, who tries to gain as many points as he can on Simon Uskomski, since he's actually absent, but Luca Rapaz is doing a better job at the moment, a bit further back. Many battles happening. Valentino Labelle going for a move with Alexi Cavero as they go side by side in the next corner. Who's going to come off best? Looks like it's a drag race to the next corner right there. Alexi Cavero is just barely a nose ahead at the moment, and this time it's Labella who's going to have the inside line and takes another car straight with it, and nearly literally at the same time Jan Halliday nearly saw the McLaren plow into the side of his Aston Martin, but thankfully Labella managed to stop the car in time, and Halliday is having some leggy issues himself as well. So far, so good though. Valentino Labella up 1 position. The same goes for the drivers ahead of him. Florian Vanzelter, Richard Sproges doing a great job starting from the back of the field. Up 5 positions each. So a great start for the both of them. And let's see how the tires are looking. Everybody has started on the mediums except Diego Zorzo. And therefore he's now in P15, having lost some position. Oh, never mind, he's gained some position because of course he didn't qualify at all. And that means he's a little bit lucky because, of course, it's Campbell Adams and Jack Humphries who've lost a lot of positions. Jack Humphries, of course, trying to stay with the pack on his first race on this game. Let's hope he's found a good setup. Let's hope he's managed to do some practice at the very least before this race happens. Unfortunately for him, qualifying was short and therefore he was only able to do one hot lap because of the rainy conditions coming in fast and furious. Lead of the race though, still for Luca Rapasa. Tony Hietala following suit in second place. Larry Tolkien in third. Liam Stevens now back in P4 after the tap of his to his teammate, I should say. Campbell Adams now down in the order, and Labella and Alexi Cavero going for it once again in the exact same part of the track, and once again Labella will have the inside line, but this time he's far more alongside than he was in the previous lap. But Alexi Cavero isn't giving up that easily. Will he have the attack on the inside? Yes, he will. He's still there, and Labella only realized it just in time. That means Alexi Cavero might still have an opportunity. Where's he gonna go? The outside wasn't never going to work right there. He's gonna have to try with DRS. And Labella might be vulnerable. He's managed to get the McLaren out of DRS range, but not enough, because there's still the rear wing that's opening for the McLaren right there. And Alexi Cavero now is going to have to defend against the other McLaren, because there is Conrad Bohm. And the inside in turn 1, and is he going to yield? Yes, Alexi has to yield. In fact, he has to yield against 2 cars. So the attack on Valentino Labella at the end of the previous lap has cost him dearly, because now he's all the way down to P10, and Valentino Labella is long gone up into P7. So a great offensive move then from the McLaren driver, forcing Alexi to try and get back to it. On the offensive himself, didn't work out, and now Cavero's got Sproges right behind him. And I feel like Sproges wants to cut through the field as soon as possible. All the tires, of course, now being 2 laps old. No change for the lead just yet. Tony Hitala stays in position. No threats from behind just yet. Everybody is decided to stay in order. And there's Florian van Zelder on a roll at the moment. Furious about his qualifying, no doubt. And he's definitely doing a great job here as he moves into P8. We see Liam Stevens on a roll as well, side by side there with Larry Tolkien, who tries to get back to the podium. Liam Stevens will have the inside in turn 19. Will that go well? That's the question we can't see. There we go. Tolkien had no choice but to go off the track. There's simply, even though the track is really wide, there's just not enough room if you're racing side by side like that. And now Labella with the fastest lap of the race, as he slowly starts to climb through the field, trying to chase down Jan Halliday for P6. Van Zelt, the same story, but Labella no longer has DRS connection. That might be a problem, but there's of course the twisty bit, the snaky section I'd like to call it, and he's immediately back within range, gaining half a second in just a few corners. Sprogans, in the meanwhile, has gotten past Alexi Cavero. He's now down to P11, Cavero is. It's not great for him so far. He might now seriously rue his decision to try and get back at Labella 2 laps ago. It's now cost him 5 positions, from 7th all the way down to 11th. And that means he's now got to overtake 4 cars to get back ahead of him. And now he's under threat from his own teammate Thomas Lamminen right behind. Both Finns racing in a Ferrari tonight. And the field is stabilizing a little bit. Campbell Adams is already past Jack Humphreys. Both the Aussies at the back of the field. I wonder what exactly happened between him and Liam Stevens. Might have been some lag involved. Of course, Campbell being from Australia might be cause for some connection issues. Perhaps for some desync as well. I'm not sure. Liam Stevens usually isn't a driver to push his own teammate out of the way. And this is terrible news for Luca Repasa. He gets a 3-second time penalty. And many drivers follow suit already. There's 5 of them. And this is terrible, terrible news for Repasa, who wanted to put a challenge to Liam Stevens and at least take away some points from the Komsky. And it's not happening anymore, as we have a yellow flag. Oh, that's Alexi Cavero. His race has just gotten a whole lot worse. It was going down the drain fast. Oh, that's not really helping. His rear tires are now very hot. He's going to make them even hotter. And he's going to overheat them and puncture them for sure if he keeps it up like this. I've got no clue what the intention is here. Might be pure frustration. But those rears, yeah, no surprises there. It just slides around now. Let's watch something else, shall we? Let's keep an eye on what's going on here in front. Labella is struggling to keep up with the top 6. Jan is knocking on Rowson's door. As Alexi is still causing yellow flags in Sector 2 now. He's clearly given up. If he keeps it up like this, he'll soon be lapped. Ooh, Jan Halliday is really on a roll right now. He's all over the back of Jensen Rowson. And sooner it will not become a question of if he will pass, but the question becomes when will he pass. As they head into lap 6 now. It is a struggle. Lucas' penalty is removable right now. Alright. That's the good news then for Luca. He at least has still got Liam Stevens behind. And he's still in the lead. He's got Tony Hitala as a backup. Although we saw Tony attacking Luca in turn 1. I feel like Tony's role in the championship is pretty much over. With 5 rounds remaining, of course, there's still an opportunity. But he's so far behind. And Luca Rapaz is so much closer that I feel like Tony should play some sort of defensive role against Liam Stevens. Because Liam is the main threat for Luca Rapaz now. Larry Tolkien is behind him in the standings, but there's a bit of a gap between the two. As far as I know from the top of my head. Of course, it could still be something to worry about for Luca. It would be an interesting thing indeed. If Liam Stevens wins this one, he will be the first to win 5 in a row. in EXA. We don't know about the rest, that's for sure. Diego Zorzo's tires have come alive in the meanwhile. By the end of lap 6, he's now making the moves up to P11. But now he's got a gap of 2 seconds to cover. And he can easily do so through the corners. Look at this. He's gaining some time here. Although this is a fast corner, so not as much time as he would have liked. And there we are. Pit stops coming in early. At the end of lap 6, we see Liam Stevens potentially go for a 2-stop. I do not know yet how the tire strategy works here. He obviously goes for a set of hard tires. He's going to try the undercut on Rapasa and Hitala. He does want the RBs behind him instead of ahead. It might be a wise decision. But the question is, how does the rest think about a 2-stop? Or at least I think it is a 2-stop. Because there's 28 laps. He stops at the end of lap 6. 22 laps on the hard tires is going to be a long shot, a very long shot. And with fast corners like these on this track, causing, I think, a little bit of extra tire wear. And Jack Humphries has fully lost connection. He will probably not be surprised at this pace. And now Liam is going to try and pass him as soon as he can. Otherwise, the undercut will be worthless. He needs to pass now. And of course he does so, and I don't think Jack is going to make any issue about it. There you are. He's through then into P15, back into the points. But the question is, what is the RB duo going to do? Will they react? Will they try something different? We've seen several tracks now where the 1 versus the 2-stop battle was always very intriguing to watch. Let's see if this track is going to be the same story. It is Luca Rapasa who goes in now. Hitala stays out. Larry Tolke does the same thing. Jensen Rausen pits as well. He wants to because he's already 2 seconds behind, I was about to say. As he gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And yes, it is going to be reduced to 5 seconds if he doesn't serve it. I don't know if he has to serve it because I cannot tell you whether this is a 1 or 2 stop yet. But it is definitely looking to be a 2-stop. So that would mean that Jensen will have to serve 10 seconds, and that is going to hurt his race even more. He was dissatisfied with his qualifying, and now he's going to be dissatisfied with his race as well. Luca Rapasa, there you go, has ended up behind Liam Stevens, albeit only half a second. And now the battle between what is currently the 2 championship contenders continues. No Simon Lukomsky to worry about for the 2. We all know Simon to be very fast, but he hasn't won a race yet. He's just been an extraordinarily consistent driver. And tonight is the first race that he's absent. And I think he's going to feel it, because these 2 are definitely going to fight it out for the win. Konrad Bohm overtaking Gerhard Sprogis for P6. No problem there. He can remove 5 seconds from his track limit penalties if he serves it. So still has a reason to drive. I mean, fair enough. I didn't know it was still removable to have the penalty, even if you serve it. Tony Hitala comes in, breaks just in time. He doesn't want that penalty. Larry Tolke carries on. I think Tolke and Jan and Valentino might try the 1-stop. If you want a 2-stop, then this might have been the latest that you should stop for a set of hards. And Liam Stevens, now having posted the fastest lap of the race, is proving a point for sure. And Tony Hitala, I wonder if he still will get DRS. He's now, of course, still behind his teammate and much further behind Liam Stevens. And he is out of DRS, 2.2 seconds already. And Luca is lucky he pitted the lap earlier. It was a smart decision, the smartest decision, I'd say. To not pit any lap later, otherwise Liam would have disappeared in the distance. And this is going to be interesting, because once again, Liam Stevens is approaching his teammate, and I wonder if Campbell Adams is going to move out of the way willingly now after he's been hit by Liam Stevens. Let's see how cooperative Campbell is going to be after what happened on lap 1. And I feel like I agree in the chat yeah, I feel like we have got a Hungary situation brewing. I think we do. And that was fascinating. Until the racing got a bit ugly, to be fair. Let's see if they can keep their noses clean now. Rapasa is trying to show to Liam Stevens that he's got the pace to overtake. And I think he wants to do that quickly. Because sooner or later, Liam will be in DRS range of the cars ahead, which are much slower at the moment. Look at that, through the corners, gaining a whole lot of time. Well over half a second quicker through just a few corners. And we see there Campbell Adams moving out of the way. So the Alpines will not meet for the second time then. Probably for the best. Luca Rapasa is happy to see that Liam Stevens will not get DRS then for a little while longer. But he will get it from Anton Chebatarov soon. Pole was a 31.2 because of slightly damp conditions. It was also the only pole time set there. They only did one run at the start of qualifying, so no track improvements. Slick intermediates, yeah. That's the perfect description, actually. So then, Larry Tolkien leads the race. I think he's going to commit to one stop. Same goes for everybody else still out in the mediums. And I wonder what Diego Zorzo is going to do. And more drivers are getting now a 3-second time penalty to their name. That will not help them. And Chebatarov, no surprise there, does move out of the way. This is not his race. Liam Stevens, Luca Rapasa carry on the fight. Tony Hitala struggling to keep up. He might potentially be stuck behind the Mercedes in the third sector. Anton is still within DRS range, albeit on very old tires, and this is definitely going to move him out of that range, I think. Or is it? No, it isn't, actually. He's going to get DRS, unless he decides to pit now. There goes Conrad Bohm. And a 10-second time penalty add to it as well. And retires from the race, frankly. What happened there? Might he have gotten himself a puncture or something? Tony Hitala through on Anton Chebatarov. Now 1.2 seconds from Luca Rapasa. He's closing the gap now. Despite being stuck behind the Mercedes for a little bit, the DRS has helped him big time, as well as his pace. Hitala quickly driving back to his teammate. And I wonder what he's going to do. This could be a three-way race for the win then. Very interesting. We now see 5 drivers remain on the old medium tires. If they come in now, 17 laps will have to be driven on the hards, and I think by this point it might actually be doable. So then we'll find out which strategy is better, 1 or 2 stop. And this is valuable information for tomorrow as well, don't forget that. Luca Rapasa is still all over the back of Liam Stevens. Stevens is definitely under pressure. As he's now stuck behind Gerhard Sprogus, this might be an opportunity for Luca to get back in the lead. He's definitely very close still. Larry Tolkien now coming in for his pit stop out of the race lead. He will, of course, fall far behind. And now Liam Stevens will have no slipstream, but he will have DRS. What is Luca Rapasa going to do into turn 1? I think the gap is just a little bit too big. Another 10-second time penalty in the pit lane. What are these drivers doing tonight? Liam Stevens stays ahead. He's got fewer and fewer cars ahead of him for traffic. He's now back in P4. Jan Halliday and Valentino Labera carry on the medium tires for another lap. That is quite impressive so far. Anton Chebatarov, same story. But look at Larry Tolkien. Having stayed out for that long, has caused him to drop all the way to P10. But he might have just made his one and only stop. And it might be that Liam Stevens and the rest of them, Luca, Tony, Jensen, might come in for a second one. Campbell Adams now with a 3-second time penalty. Might be a good idea to check how many penalties are there already. Look at this. Gerhard Sprogus getting past Alberto Barros, who's having trouble on his hard tires there. They're just 4 laps old. Shouldn't be that much of an issue yet. Just pushed a little bit too hard, I'm afraid. Eberhards will now put Campbell Adams under pressure. Starting from the back, came out way too late at the pit lane in qualifying. No chance to set a proper lap time, and in comes Jan Halliday. Valentino Labella, same story. And Jan Halliday also gets a 10-second. It's the story of this race, isn't it? How are they doing it? All of them. 10 second after 10 seconds. Now let's see if Anton does the same thing. No. Good on him. Keep it up. Diego Zorzo then the sole driver remaining on his starting tires, obviously, as he started on the hards. He's approached rapidly by Liam Stevens. This is interesting because Diego probably might be on a one stop as well. Liam Stevens and a few drivers behind him on a two stop most likely. Meaning that Diego overall, once he pits, won't have lost a lot of time. And I wonder what tires these drivers have chosen. Usually these days they go with a double set of hard tires, but that might just be a bit different now. Seeing how many drivers were able to keep those medium tires alive for quite a while. Both Ferraris out of the race, by the way. Didn't see it happening. I did see Alexi, of course, retiring. Thomas Laminen retired now as well. Conrad Bohm is out from a P6, actually, which surprised me a little bit. And the battle for the lead carries on between these three as they approach Diego Zorzo, who is just over a second ahead of them. He has to go for at least, I'd say, 5 more laps on those hard tires. Maybe a little less. And then he might just go for the mediums until the end of the race. Liam Stevens with DRS. Some extra defensive capabilities for the Alpine driver. The rest is well clear from them. Behind, Jensen Rosen 6 seconds from Tony Hietala at the moment. They will not see the race leaders again until there's a safety car. If there is a safety car, because the field is spread out a little bit. The closest battle we have at the moment is between Liam and Luca and Campbell and Brehards. The tire difference between these two, 2 laps. Tire difference between Liam and Luca, 1 lap, and Tony Hietala an additional lap there. The important thing now for Liam is to get past Diego Zorzo. Or what is Diego going to do? Is he going to hold them up? No, he isn't. He's letting Liam Stevens through, no problem. But Liam got a bad exit, allowing Campbell to stay with him very closely. And now Luca wants to get past as well. This is crucial. Luca Rapaza has to go through now. Otherwise he might lose DRS, and he does so on the inside. And Diego lets it happen. Now Tony Hietala, same story. Wants to go through as soon as he can. He will still get DRS from Diego Zorzo. And Larry will indeed be interesting to watch if these drivers have decided to go for the 2-stop or just for a very long second stint. Either way, Larry will be a lot faster now. His tires are quite a lot fresher. He's already behind Florian Vanzelter, and he's gonna go for a move sooner or later. Having a little look. He doesn't... Oh, he just bumps Aston Martin into turn 1. He doesn't want to be stuck behind these drivers for too long. So, if he stays behind for these drivers for too long, he'll be in trouble to try and catch up to the top 5. He needs to make it happen on the back straight, I think. At least one car should be passed. Jensen Rosen might be a sitting duck. Florian is a bit further back than he would like, I think. But there we go, through corners. A lot of extra speed. Jan Halliday, even more than that. They both might be interesting to watch. Diego Zorzo now lets Tony Hietala through. And Jensen Rosen goes defensive against the both of them. Let's see what happens then. Florian Vanzelt around the outside. But Jensen Rosen, beautiful defense there. Stays ahead just barely, but this time the inside is from Florian Vanzelter as they go side by side still. This is going to cost Larry Toki a whole lot of time. He doesn't like that. He still can't get through. Oh, there he goes. Beautiful corner right there for the Haas driver. And now with the extra grip he has, he just swoops around the outside of Jensen Rosen. And up he goes into P5. This is the moment he needed, but he does have a time penalty too. 3 seconds to his name, and I do not know if that one is removable. I saw in the chat that Rapace's penalty is removable. I don't know if that is still the case. Depends on how many warnings he's picked up since. And there is Jan Halliday once again going on the offensive to Jensen Rouse, and he succeeds this time round. But I think Larry Toki will now disappear in the distance. And now we'll see what he can do. Or what is most likely a one-stop. Tire difference between himself and the top 3 is 3 to 4 laps, which doesn't sound like a lot. But it might be a crucial amount of laps. He's got 6 seconds to Diego Zorzo, who's still in his first stint, of course. That gap will reduce fast. Diego Zorzo barely hanging on to DRS. That, of course, is ideal for him. If he keeps up with these drivers and pits at the same time, he's effectively going to fight for the win. That's going to be interesting to watch. From last place, potentially to a win. Depends on how well. Look at that. He's actually gaining on them through the corners. A 7 to 8, 8 lap difference. 7 to 8 laps. And he's still there. Jensen Rouse now with a 3-second time penalty. As he tries to get back past Van Zelter. And now they've got Valentino Labella also on a one-stop behind them. Valentino, of course, much faster. Just like in Qatar, Diego's unlucky that he's alone on this strategy. I don't know. Because last time, they were all on a one-stop. This time, maybe not. But, if it's going to be a two-stop, they should come in soon. If they haven't come in and by the end of lap 20, I think it might still be a one-stop. Diego, though, doing a fabulous job staying with the top 3 on his very old, hard tires. And he's just hoping that the top 3 are committing to a two-stop. Larry Toki is not approaching as fast as he would have liked. He hasn't even gained a 1 second on them yet. And now he's got Jan Halliday for company. And he's going to overtake for sure. And I think these drivers might want to form an alliance of sorts. And work together. Valentino Labella in the background against Jensen Rausen. Jensen goes absolutely defensive everywhere. And Valentino goes through on the inside. No problem there. Difference between tires just simply too big for Jensen to defend. And Valentino goes through and tries to give chase to Larry Toki and Jan Halliday. The end of lap 17. Top 3 carries on. Same goes for Diego. No, he doesn't. He goes in. If the top 3 comes in later, Diego will have undercut them. Sort of. Alberto Barros with another 3 seconds. But he's simply fighting for the remaining scraps. Jack Humphries is just getting him some experience from this race. As you can see, he's still hanging on to points at least. So that's good on him. Now, Jan Halliday, Larry Toki, you've got 5 seconds to cover to the top 3. Diego Zorzo comes out in P11. The gap to the leader, 20.5 seconds. If they remain on the one stop, it will not be possible for him to close. He's going to have to make up 2 seconds per lap. Given the fact that the tires will stay alive for that long. Which I doubt. We're just waiting to see what these 3 will do. Same goes for Jensen and Florian, who have committed to this sort of similar strategy to these 3. Campbell Adams, somewhere in between. Florian Van Zelter once again back past Jensen Rausen. Or P7. These 2 are together a whole lot this race. And Rohards and Campbell Adams have connected to them as well now. The top 3 approaching the pit entry lane once again. What are they going to do? They do come in. It is indeed a two-stop. Liam Stevens comes in for a second and final stop. And now we'll see what Diego is going to be. He's now 19 seconds behind the race leader. And he's gaining fast. Liam probably knows. Will it be a set of medium tires? I think so. No, it's another set of hards. That will be another difference between Diego and Liam Stevens and the rest. Now let's find out where Diego is. He's on the main straight. He's got a purple final sector. Is he going to be ahead of Liam Stevens? Our championship leader exits the pit lane now. And there's Diego Zorzo faster. But just not enough speed. Or does he? Goes on the inside in turn 1. Side by side. Diego Zorzo for potentially the lead of the race. There he goes through for now. Committed to a one-stop. And potentially might make it work. But he's got to keep these tires alive for 10 laps, including this one. And Liam Stevens has now undercut both RBs. He's gonna stay with Diego Zorzo, get some extra DRS. Indeed, it's going to be a tall order for Diego to claim the win here tonight. But if he does, it's going to be brilliant. He might get some extra defensive from Jensen Rausen. He wanted to go through. Oh, actually, that was Rahard Sprogis. That was the other Red Bull, sorry. Got a bit confused there. How did they approach that quickly? But they didn't. That was Rahard Sprogis going on the move on Jensen Rausen. Up to P7. Frankly, Luca and Tony stay out for another lap. Have they chosen the 2 sets of mediums then? Whoever has to pit second from these two will be in trouble. Because they've committed for another lap out there. Florian Vanzelder against Richard Sprogis, bumping a little bit there. Tire difference 3 laps in favor of Richard Sprogis. Another bit of bumping going on. And Richard has to stay behind for now. Not ideal. In the background you can see Diego and Liam approach. To the lead, they've got 15.5 seconds. It's not the 2 seconds per lap that Diego needs. And Rahars is frustrated, trying to get past the DRS detection zone. He's going to try around the outside. He's still around the outside. Florian, of course, runs him out of road. And there is Diego and Liam already. They've got to get through as soon as possible. What's Campbell Adams going to do? Shaking his car towards Liam Stevens, telling him he didn't appreciate the tap on lap 1. But he did let him through. So no hard feelings on track. And now Diego is stuck behind 2 fighting drivers. They will not yield. Of course they won't, because they do not have blue flags. And Diego has to go through the inside. And that nearly goes horribly wrong. Florian is defending against Jensen. And Diego is much, much faster. And he goes off the road as well. And there he goes. Still side by side. Florian is just fighting everybody. He doesn't care. Liam Stevens wants to go through as well now. As they head towards turn 1 once again. What's happening now? Liam Stevens gains the lead. Or gains P7 from Diego. It's still a question, or big question now, on whether they're going to take the lead. Because Luca and Tony are still out there. And Jan and Larry are approaching fast, but they both have time penalties. Florian is helping Jan, of course he is. But the difference now between Liam and Jan is 12 odd seconds. Will it be enough? Can they catch up in time? Rehards leads this train. He's going to hold up Liam Stevens, probably. He's going to try and brake later than the Alpine. Is he going to commit to the inside? He's not. Now he's got his teammate behind. On a whole different sort of pit stop strategy. Very different. And Rehards might want to move out of the way, and he does. Very wide he goes. But he actually decides to go defensive against his own teammate. No teamwork then for Red Bull. And Diego might have just lost. No, barely. He's still within DRS range. Looks like Luca and Tony now have no choice but to go for the one stop on these ancient tires. Can they keep those ties alive until the end of the race? Jan and Larry are a threat. Even if they have a 3-second time penalty, they can still try and drive away 3 seconds down the road. And then there's still Valentina Labella, 5 seconds behind them. And then 5 seconds behind Valentino, it's Liam Stevens and Diego Zorzo. Diego's mediums might be past their optimum range already. And I think Jack Humphreys might retire now, or does he? He does not. If Luca and Tony do not come in by the end of this lap, they will for sure go for a one-stop. And there's Jan Halliday! But he didn't commit properly. And Larry gets another 3-second time penalty. And the victory for him is going to be pretty much impossible by this point. Jan Halliday then. Perhaps it could still be his. Oh, Diego gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Really doesn't help him. The track limits tonight are a big issue for these drivers. Liam Stevens has nearly escaped Diego Zorzo. 1 versus 2 stop, and so far Liam Stevens is the only driver who's committed to a proper 2-stop race. As Diego Zorzo goes too wide again. Picks up another warning, probably. The nail-biting begins for the top 4. They are eagerly awaiting the arrival for Liam Stevens, if it happens. We will need the incident tab, or so many warnings can be removed. I'm not sure how they can be removed. If you go off the track, the warning is valid, I believe. I might be wrong there, though. Maybe it's different. Jan Halliday with another opportunity. If he wants to win the race, he's got to go fast now. If you're pushed off, yeah, but I'm not sure how many drivers are actually pushed off. I feel like a lot of drivers have actually just simply gained these warnings by simply driving off themselves. There goes Jan Halliday once again, side by side. And he's properly passed. He splits the RB cars now. If none of the penalties gets removed, Tony Hitala wins the race. But I think the RB tires have given up pretty much. You saw there Valentino Labella in the background. He's still about 5 seconds behind. Liam Stevens approaching much faster. Diego Zorzo having now lost DRS against Stevens. I think Stevens is going to arrive too late. You still got to get past Valentino Labella first. And then there's another 4.5 seconds to go to this group. But if he arrives here and none of these penalties will get removed, he can at least get P2. So let's see. Whatever the results tonight, they will definitely not be final. So whoever wins the race might not actually become the race winner, that's for sure. Got 5 laps to go, including this one. Jan will be trying to make the move against Luca Rapasa. And then he's got to drive away by 3 seconds to secure the win. Because even if he then doesn't get his penalty removed, it will still be good enough. But he's got 4 laps to do so if he gets past now. This is his moment. He's got to do it. Luca Rapasa, is he going to defend? Jan Halliday actually sticks behind. He doesn't even attack. Or does he? He does! He does! For the inside he goes! He waited. He's just trying to give Luca the feeling that he wanted to stay behind, but then he went for it anyway. And Luca had no answer. And now Jan is going to drive away, fast and furious. Through the corners he goes, gaining some time. He will not lose DRS from Luca yet. But you can see the time he gains through the corners, it's quite a lot. So Sector 1 might be the deal breaker then for Luca Rapasa's victory. 0.8 of a second now. Still DRS then, of course, for Luca Rapasa. Tony Hitala is barely hanging on. He's struggling now. It might soon become a 2-horse race for the victory then. Larry Tilke all over the back of Tony Hitala. Liam Stevens having arrived now. At Valentina Labella, we've got a yellow flag for Alberto Barros. Not sure what happened there. But it stays at a yellow flag, nothing more. Jan Halliday hasn't shaken Luca Repasa off yet. Still 0.7 of a second. 3.5 laps to go. Tony Hitala no longer within DRS range. Larry Toki will pass him most likely now. It spells trouble for the Finn, who looked potentially to be on course for the victory after a long time. Alberto Barros retires in the pit lane. And Jan Halliday has got to be careful, as has been spotted well in the chat. Cut the same corner twice in the last 2 laps. He's at risk for another penalty indeed. That's how hard he's pushing. But it doesn't help his advance. Liam Stevens already passed Valentino Labella. Now he's got 2.5 seconds to cover to the top 4. And that should not be a problem. The tyre difference is huge by this point. He can see the top 4 ahead of him. Would he then still arrive in time? He would at least arrive in time to Tony and Larry. But the top 2 has escaped. They're now nearly 2 seconds up the road from Larry Tolke. As the yellow flag disappears, 2 seconds now to go for Liam Stevens. He will gain a lot through this middle sector, first sector, sorry, I'm sure. Or does he? There we go. Time coming down fast. Oh, look out with another 3 seconds! Whatever you said at the start of the race, it's not removable anymore, I'm afraid. It's now 6 seconds to Luca Repasa. And Liam Stevens will be delighted. And it's actually not 3 seconds for Jan Halliday. I completely saw that wrong. It's actually 10 seconds. Which will be reduced to 5, which is still painful. So, it's no track limit then so far. No, the penalty at least. So Liam Stevens might still win it. The gap to the leader, 4.7 seconds. It's good enough. It's more than good enough. Luca and Larry have got 6 seconds. Tony has got 3. At the moment, Liam Stevens has got it. On track, the 2-stop may not work. But on penalties, it might. But he probably wants to get past anyways. We're now on the penultimate lap. He is just missing out on DRS. 4.1 seconds to Jan Halliday. He will not win the race anymore with Liam Stevens now this close. He can still make it work. 3.8 and closing fast. Ahead of him, Tony Hitala. Tony will surely not make it easy for him. They were fighting for the win on the first and second stint. Liam has gone for a third stint and he's back again. He's managed to close an entire pit window. An entire pit stop to Tony Hitala. In a matter of about 10 laps. Which I can say is very impressive and the true makings of a champion right here. Indeed, Valentino is second is indeed nice for him. Is he gonna yield? Sorry, is he gonna go for it? Yeah, and is Tony Hitala going to yield? He's not, but he pushes, get pushed off the track. Because simply no room around the outside. And now he's got 3 seconds to the lead. He can still see them. He needs to get past Larry Tolke now. Just in case Larry and Luca managed to get 3 seconds from their 6 seconds removed. Liam Stevens wants to be within 3 seconds of everybody now. And there he goes, onto the final lap. Round the track one final time, and something has happened at the back of the field. Once again, Campbell Adams in trouble. And he's decided to go for the same thing as... Is that a puncture then? It is a puncture, is it? No, it's not a puncture. He's just messing about. He's just frustrated, I think. Liam Stevens hasn't got past Larry Tolke. That might spell trouble for him. Is he going to go for it here? Past the DRS detection zone he goes. Onto the back straight for the final time. 3.5 seconds now to the race leader. A little less, of course, to Luca Rapasa. And there he goes. Liam Stevens into P3. Tony Hitala, defense against Valentino Labella. Labella stays behind. Or actually, it might have been the other way around. Oh, Tony Hitala goes back past Labella. It looks like now Liam Stevens got to drive these tires from away from his car, pretty much. 3 seconds now. He's pretty much safe now. Yep. He's absolutely got this one covered. No problem at all. Unless Jan Halliday can get his penalty fully removed, which I doubt. It is going to be decided then that Liam Stevens is going to win 5 in a row. And there it is, officially then. Liam Stevens wins the race. Luca Rapasa comes home in 3rd because Valentino Labella was still close enough to claim 2nd place. He'll be delighted with that one. The highest ranked reserve on the driver standings by a clear mile from the rest. Great race once again from him. Very interesting to see the strategies work. Liam Stevens has had a bit of luck with the penalties from other drivers. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won the race on a 2-stop, but it was very close. He was just stuck behind some drivers for a little bit too long, especially when he was approaching the mid-pack. Jensen Rausen, Florian Pfanzelt fighting hard as he and Diego tried to go through. Diego Zorzo from last with a hard to medium strategy to 7th. I think is still commendable, but I think he would have liked some more. Yeah, we shall actually go through the incident step. I want to see that as well. But let's first have a look at the results. All right, driver of the day, Liam Stevens. No surprises there. Extraordinary race by this man. 5 in a row. Here's the official results then. Larry Tolke 6th. Diego Zorzo P7. Ritz Progress. Florian Pfanzelt and Ton Chebotarov. We haven't seen him all race, I have to say. In P10. Jensen Rose and Jack Humphreys. Despite everything, will finish in the points in P12. Campbell Adams is still classified in 13th. At least in the game. Not sure about RLT. Alberto Barros, Conrad Bohm, Thomas Lemon and Alexi Cavero have retired. And now, the thing you have been waiting for. The incidents. Let's see. Liam Stevens has gotten collision warning. And 1 corner cut so far. 2 corner cut warnings for Liam Stevens. Ooh, he's been very close. Look at the pasta there. 3 warnings on the same lap. That might be removable. He might go down to 3 seconds still. Let's see about the rest. Later down the line, he gotten another 3 seconds somewhere. There we go. Ooh. No, that actually didn't count there. This is interesting. If you get 3 warnings in 1 corner, it's also removable, I'm sure. Because that's simply not fair. So maybe Liam Stevens' victory isn't as certain yet. Maybe Luca and some other drivers might get their 6 seconds removed even. Either way, that actually does conclude tonight's race. A very interesting one. Not a whole lot of drama, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it was fun to see how the strategies worked out. Liam Stevens committed to a 2-stop. He's made it work for now, thanks to the penalties. But who knows what happens after some warnings and potentially penalties might be removed. Really depends on how the FIA looks at these. Let's hope they've all recorded their things. Jan Halliday already saying he didn't record. So he's already saying unlucky. He might not get it removed. That's unfortunate. So we'll see. Next week, Japan. We're going to Suzuka. Great track. 1 stop there is the best strategy by far, I can tell you that. Medium to hard to medium, whichever you prefer. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Until then, goodbye.